It was Christmas morning, and the air was crisp, heavy with the scent of pine and cinnamon. I was still half asleep when I heard a soft knock on my bedroom door. My heart skipped a beat. I groggily opened it, rubbing my eyes, and there stood my cousin Jason. His usually bright eyes seemed distant, shadowed by something I couldn't quite grasp. The tension in the air was palpable, like the stillness before a storm. Jason was supposed to be just my cousin, my best friend for as long as I could remember. We grew up together, shared countless memories from our childhoods, and were always there for each other, thick and thin. But something had changed, and I couldn't quite place it. He didn't meet my eyes, looking instead at the floor, his fingers playing nervously with the hem of his sweater. I didn't know why, but his sudden appearance had thrown me off balance. "Hey," he mumbled, his voice barely audible above the quiet hum of the heating system. Can I come in?" I stepped back, letting him in, my heart now pounding with a mix of confusion and something else I didn't want to name. The room felt too small with him in it, too confined for the unspoken tension that seemed to fill every inch of space between us. He closed the door behind him, and I watched as he hesitated, like he was trying to find the right words. There was an awkwardness in the air that I hadn't felt before, a strange sense of discomfort. It was Christmas, a time for family warmth and laughter. But now, there was an edge to everything. Jason's eyes flicked up to mine, then quickly away, his cheeks tinged pink. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was hiding something from me, something big. I tried to brush it off, forcing a smile. "Hey, what's up, Jason? You okay?" He nodded, but his expression was far from okay. Yeah, I'm fine," he replied, though his voice didn't match the words. He took a deep breath, looking down at his feet again. I've been thinking a lot lately. About us, about everything." The words caught me off guard. "About us?" I repeated, a little too sharply. My heart was starting to race, and I could feel the tension in the air tighten around us. Jason finally looked up, his eyes meeting mine with an intensity that left me breathless. "Yeah," he said, his voice barely a whisper. I think there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been keeping from you for a long time." I blinked, not knowing what to say. This was supposed to be a happy day, a family day. But the air was thick with unspoken words, with something heavy hanging between us. What could he possibly be hiding? Why did it feel like my world was about to be turned upside down? The room felt oddly quiet after Jason's confession. We sat on my bed, side by side, neither of us quite knowing how to move forward. I could feel the weight of the silence pressing down on us, making the air thick with unspoken words. I glanced over at him, but he was staring at his hands, fingers fidgeting nervously. Growing up, Jason and I were inseparable. Our childhood was spent building forts in the backyard, playing video games for hours, and making mischief around town. He was my confidant, the one person I could always talk to without judgment. We shared secrets, hopes, and dreams. The bond we had was something special, a friendship that went beyond mere cousinship. But something had changed. Jason seemed different, distant in a way I couldn't quite place. I remembered the countless late-night conversations we'd had, huddled together on my bed, whispering about everything from school crushes to our futures. We had a rhythm, a way of understanding each other that felt almost instinctive. Jason was my safe space, the one person I could rely on when everything else seemed chaotic. But now, there was a tension between us, an unspoken strain that made everything feel different. "I don't get it, Jason," I said finally, my voice breaking the silence. "We've always been close. What's changed?" He glanced up, his eyes sad, filled with something I couldn't quite define. "I don't know," he admitted, his voice low and rough. "I guess I've just been feeling weird about things lately." I raised an eyebrow, waiting for him to continue, but he just shrugged. "Things have been different for a while now," he finally confessed. With me. I don't know. It's hard to explain." I felt a pang of frustration. What had changed? Was it just his hormones acting up, the usual teenage angst? Or was there something more? "You're my cousin, Jason. We're supposed to be able to talk about anything. Why are you holding back now?" Jason looked away, his cheeks flushed. "I don't know. Maybe because it's not just about us anymore. There's something more." I narrowed my eyes, trying to read his expression. What do you mean, something more? He hesitated, biting his lip. I don't know. I guess I've been having these feelings about you. My heart stopped. I wasn't sure I'd heard him right. Feelings. I echoed, the words sounding foreign on my lips. Jason nodded, his eyes flicking up to meet mine. Yeah. Like more than just cousin feelings. A million thoughts raced through my mind. Was he saying what I thought he was saying? My stomach flipped, a mixture of confusion, fear, and excitement coursing through me. But, we're cousins, I said weakly, trying to make sense of it all. That's not normal, right? Jason shrugged, looking lost. I don't know. But I can't help how I feel. It's just there, you know? Like it's been growing for a while. My mind was reeling. How could he feel that way about me? And why hadn't I noticed it before? Maybe I'd been blind, too caught up in my own feelings to see what was right in front of me. We sat there for a long moment, the weight of his words hanging heavy in the air. I don't know what to say, Jason, I finally admitted, my voice shaky. This changes everything. Jason nodded, his eyes glistening. I know. I'm sorry. I had to tell you. I reached out, placing a hand on his arm. Jason, this doesn't change who we are. We're still family, no matter what. I don't know what to do with this. He gave me a small, sad smile. Me neither. But I couldn't keep it from you anymore. It felt wrong. The room was silent again, our shared secret hanging between us. We didn't know where to go from here, how to navigate this new dynamic. But at least now we knew, and it felt like a weight had been lifted, even if it was just the beginning of a whole new set of challenges. Jason leaned back, looking exhausted. I just needed you to know, to be honest with you, he admitted. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I nodded, swallowing hard. Thanks for telling me, Jason. I guess we'll figure this out somehow. After Jason's confession, everything between us seemed to change overnight. The quiet moments were no longer comfortable. They were now laden with an unspoken tension. It was hard to know how to act around each other, what was acceptable or normal. I found myself constantly second-guessing my words, my actions, fearing I might say or do something to make it worse. The initial days were the hardest. We retreated into our separate worlds, pretending nothing had changed. Jason became more distant, lost in his own thoughts. I avoided him as much as possible, avoiding eye contact and making excuses to spend time alone. But there was an undeniable shift in our interactions. Everything felt charged now, the air crackling with unsaid words. Every small touch, every accidental brush against each other's skin, seemed to spark something new between us. I could feel the weight of his confession hanging between us like an invisible barrier, making it hard to relax, to just be. I watched him from across the room, his eyes often flicking to mine only to quickly look away, his cheeks flushed. It was like he was trying to read my mind, to gauge my reaction. But I didn't even know what I was feeling myself. Late one night, after a long awkward silence, I found Jason sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the TV. Jason, we need to talk, I said finally, my voice rough. He jumped, clearly startled by my words. About what? He asked, his voice small. About us, I replied, fidgeting with the hem of my shirt. Whatever this is between us. We can't keep avoiding it forever. Jason looked down, picking at the couch cushion. I don't know what to say, honestly. I didn't expect you to react this way. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I don't know how to react, okay? This is weird. And it's not just because we're cousins. It's because I never saw this coming. I've always thought of us as family. He nodded, his eyes downcast. I know. And it's not like I planned this. It just happened. I chewed on my lip, trying to find the right words. But how do we move forward? What does this mean for us? Jason shrugged, looking lost. I don't know. I thought maybe we could just be honest with each other. Tell each other how we feel, and then figure it out from there. I snorted, incredulous. And what if I don't feel the same way? What if this is all just a mistake? Jason's face fell. I don't know, but I had to tell you. I couldn't keep it from you any longer. It felt wrong. I watched him, my heart aching. I could see the pain in his eyes, the raw vulnerability that he tried so hard to hide. I guess I just didn't expect it, you know? And now, I don't know what to do with these feelings. He shrugged, looking away. Maybe we don't have to do anything right now. Maybe we can just be. Let things play out and see where they go. But that's the thing, I said, frustration rising in my voice. We can't just ignore it. It's there, and it's real. And now, everything is different. I don't know how to act around you anymore. Jason looked up, his eyes meeting mine. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make things weird. I had to tell you. It was eating me up inside. I sighed, sinking into the couch beside him. I know. I'm sorry too. This is just hard. And it's not something I ever thought I'd have to deal with. He reached out, placing a hand on my shoulder. I know. But maybe this is just another step in our relationship. A different kind of step, but still just as important. I looked at him, searching his face for answers. I don't know if I can just go along with this. It feels like everything is shifting, and I don't know if I like it. Jason bit his lip, his expression pained. I didn't mean to change everything. I couldn't keep this from you. It felt wrong. I let out a shaky breath. I know. And I'm glad you told me. I don't know what to do now. He gave me a small, sad smile. Maybe we just need some time to figure things out. I don't know where this is going, but maybe that's okay. The room fell silent again, our unspoken words hanging heavy between us. I didn't have the answers, but at least now we were talking. It felt like a start, even if it was messy and uncertain. Jason's confession hung heavy in the air between us. I felt a cold chill run down my spine, my mind reeling with a mix of disbelief and something else, something deeper, more unsettling. We stood in the dim light of the kitchen, the weight of our shared history pressing down on both of us. This was the moment I'd been dreading and yearning for, all at once. I can't do this anymore, Alex, Jason said, his voice a tortured whisper. I can't keep pretending I don't feel anything for you. My heart seemed to stop. The words reverberated through me, sharp and painful. All the unspoken moments, the stolen glances, the long silent drives, they all made sense now. But hearing Jason say them out loud was a shock to the system. Jason, I don't know what to say. His eyes were red, his face wet with tears. I've been trying to ignore it. I've been trying to ignore how much I care about you. But it's not fair to you. Or to me. I took a step back, struggling to find my breath. Jason, I don't know what this means. I don't know if I can handle this right now. I'm sorry, he whispered, his voice breaking. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't mean to make things complicated. I shook my head, the words catching in my throat. Complicated? Jason, this changes everything. I know, he said, his voice raw. And I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if we can handle it. Jason, we've been friends for years, I said, my voice rising in frustration. How can we just throw that away? I don't want to, he admitted, his eyes searching mine. But I can't pretend anymore. I can't keep ignoring this. Not when it feels so real. So. Right. I felt a lump in my throat, the emotions swirling inside me. But what if it's not? What if this is just a mistake? Jason stepped closer, his eyes fierce. Then it's a mistake we need to make. Because not trying would be the biggest mistake of all. I felt tears pricking at the corners of my eyes. Jason, this is too much. I don't know if I can do this. Jason's face crumpled. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push you. I just can't keep pretending. I looked away, fighting the rush of emotions threatening to overwhelm me. But what about everything else? Our friendship, our lives? What happens to that? Jason reached for me, his hand trembling. I don't know. But I can't keep pretending this isn't real. I can't ignore how I feel about you. My heart ached. I don't know if I'm ready for this. For what this means. Jason's voice broke. Neither am I. But I can't keep pretending. I can't keep lying to myself. Tears rolled down my cheeks. But what if this ruins everything? Jason stepped closer, his eyes filled with desperation. Then we deal with it. Together. But we have to try. We can't just let this go without seeing where it leads. I looked at him, the rawness in his eyes cutting me to the core. What if it's not enough? What if we're not enough? Then we fight for it, he said, his voice raw with emotion. We fight for each other. Because I can't lose you. I can't lose what we have. I swallowed hard, the weight of it all pressing down on me. But what if it's too late? Jason reached for me, his touch tentative. It's never too late. Not if we're willing to fight for it. I felt a tear slide down my cheek. But what if I can't? Jason's expression was a mix of hope and fear. Then we find a way. Together. Because I can't imagine my life without you. For a moment, we just stood there, the world shrinking down to this small, intense moment. The air was thick with unspoken words, our hearts pounding in time with each other's. And then, without thinking, I stepped into his embrace, the tension between us finally breaking. I don't know if this will work, I said, my voice a whisper. But I can't lose you either. Jason's arms tightened around me. Then let's find out. Let's not let this slip away without a fight. We stood there, holding each other, the weight of our shared vulnerability heavy on both of us. In that moment, everything felt uncertain, but it also felt right. We had a chance. A chance to figure this out, to see where our feelings could lead us. Jason pulled back slightly, his eyes searching mine. Are you sure about this? I nodded, a tear escaping from the corner of my eye. Yeah. I think I am. Jason's face softened, a mixture of relief and love in his eyes. Then let's do this. Together. With that, we stood there, two broken souls coming together in the dark, the weight of our past and the uncertainty of our future hanging in the balance. But for the first time, it didn't feel so terrifying. Because we had each other. And that was enough. The aftermath of the emotional confrontation hung over us like a heavy fog. We stood in the kitchen, our bodies close but our minds still reeling from the intensity of the moment. There was a palpable shift in the air, a new tension that was both promising and terrifying. Jason's hand grazed mine, a small tentative touch, and I felt a shiver run through me. I don't know what happens now, he said quietly, his voice filled with uncertainty. I looked at him, trying to find the words. Neither do I admitted. But I don't want to let this go. Not after everything. Jason nodded, his eyes searching mine. Me neither. But it's so much to process. So much to figure out. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. Yeah. It's not just about us. There's our whole lives to think about, our families, our friends. Jason's expression fell. I know. I don't know how they'll take it. How they'll react. We can't control that, I said softly. All we can do is be honest with them. And with ourselves. Jason's face was a mix of fear and determination. I want this. I really do. But it feels so risky. So big. I reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. I know. But sometimes the biggest risks are worth taking. Even if it doesn't work out, at least we'll know we tried. Jason's eyes flickered with hope. Yeah. I guess we can't live our lives just worrying about what might happen. We have to at least try. I nodded, my heart heavy. I just don't want to lose what we have. No matter what happens next. We won't, Jason said firmly. We'll figure this out. Together. The weight of his words settled over me, a small comfort in the midst of the uncertainty. We didn't have all the answers, but we had each other. That had to count for something. We stood there for a moment, the silence stretching out between us. It was a quiet understanding, a shared sense of both hope and fear. I don't know what this means for us, Jason said finally. But I want to find out. I want to see where this could lead. Me too, I said, feeling a flicker of warmth in my chest. I don't want to just give up on this. Not when it feels right. Jason smiled, a small, tentative smile. Yeah. Right. Maybe that's enough. I squeezed his hand again, the connection grounding me. Maybe it is. The next few days were a blur of late-night conversations and awkward silences. We didn't have all the answers, and the world outside seemed to press in on us with its judgments and uncertainties. But we took it one step at a time, leaning on each other for support. Jason introduced me to his friends first, his courage surprising me. I watched as he explained, fumbled, and finally shared our story with them. Their reactions were mixed, some skeptical, others supportive, but none of it mattered. What mattered was Jason's determination to be true to himself, to us. When it was my turn, the words stuck in my throat. But I pushed through, telling my friends about Jason and our feelings, about how we were trying to figure things out. The reactions were more varied than I expected, but I felt a strange sense of relief. These were the people who mattered to me, and they could either accept us or not. It wasn't our responsibility to make them understand, just to be true to ourselves. Jason and I found a new rhythm in our relationship. It was slow, cautious, but there was a sense of freedom in finally being honest about who we were. The fears and doubts didn't vanish overnight, but they began to lose their power over us. We supported each other through difficult moments, shared in our victories, and stumbled through our setbacks. I don't know what the future holds, I said one evening, lying on Jason's bed, our bodies tangled together. But I do know I want you in it. No matter what. Jason smiled, a quiet joy lighting up his face. Yeah. Me too. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I just want us. In those moments, the world outside seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of us in a bubble of shared dreams and uncertain possibilities. We didn't know what the future would bring, but we had each other. And that was enough. A few months later, we moved in together, our relationship solidifying in the daily routines of life. There were still ups and downs, but we faced them together, learning to communicate and trust each other in ways we never had before. The intensity of that initial confrontation had shifted, transformed into a deeper, more enduring connection. I don't know if I ever believed in love, Jason said one night, his voice low and sincere. But this feels like it. Like the real thing. I smiled, feeling the weight of our shared journey. I never thought I'd be here either. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. We lay there in the quiet of our apartment, the world outside a distant hum. There were still questions, still uncertainties. But for the first time, they didn't seem so scary. We had each other, and that was enough. Maybe this is just the beginning, Jason said softly, his words tinged with hope. Maybe there's more for us out there. Maybe, I said, curling closer to him. But for now, I'm happy with where we are. And as we drifted off to sleep, I realized that the journey we were on wasn't just about figuring out our relationship. It was about learning to embrace the unknown, to live with both the beauty and the fear of what might come next. We didn't have all the answers, but we had each other. And that was enough.